Hey y'all, I am alive and on time. Feliz Quinta-feira. Woo-hoo-hoo. Baby, got lots to share. Got lots to share today. Plus, we got to talk about the topic, but lots to share. How are y'all doing? Happy Thursday. Hope you all are doing well. It's been quite a busy day today in Lisbon, Portugal, where I live. So hope you guys are all doing well, staying safe. Y'all are, oh look, I'm got my banners up because you can tell what I was doing in the last couple seconds before I went live. But nevertheless, now you know what number 6 is, but pretend you didn't see it. Anyway, good to see you all. Yes, in Lisbon, Portugal, life is good. I am happy. I hope you're happy because less than 2 weeks to the election, if memory serves me correctly. I've already voted. I've already voted. I voted a few weeks ago, actually, as an overseas voter, and we'll get to that too, because even though it's not related to the topic, I think it'll be helpful. But yes, I have voted. And so if you have early voting in your state, you should too. And if you are an expat that's watching this, did you know that you can vote from abroad? Yes, you can. So, hey. Good to see. Thank you. Actually, BJ, he said, I ain't see nothing. Thank you. Because busy life, busy life. Anya was first in the chat with a question, which I will get to. But Anya is also participating in Nomad Noir 2025 fall cohort, which is the only cohort that's available. So if you are watching this currently, right, live, or in the future, or have watched one of the most recent videos, Nomad Noir Spring is sold out. Sold out. So if you are joining the mailing list, you will be seeing communications asking you if you're interested in Nomad Noir fall cohort, which is taking place in October. So there are 3 spots left for October, just so you know. Everything else is sold out. So if you're on the fence, get off the fence. Come hang out in Portugal. I will be your fairy scout mother and show you all of what you need to know. So yes, we will talk about that too. But yes, who else is in the chat? Marguerite. Hello. Yes, Marguerite. Hey, friend. Action BJ, how are you? Yes. Teresa, how are you? How are you? Tanya. Yes. Anya is in the house. Pisces Pret. Bunha Alpha. Aileen, how are you? Kemi, the ABX girl, Jametta. Hey y'all, how you doing? I know some of y'all have come in from over at our friends Our Black Utopia. Yes. Awesome. Glad you were able to vote today. Yes, take advantage of early voting, absentee voting, anything you can do. Like, I know in 2020, they said, right? 2020, yeah. They were like, oh, democracy is at stake. Like that was a dry run, like literally. This is it, y'all. Vote, please vote. Pinky's in the house. Hey, we have a channel member in the house. Hey, Patricia. How are you? Free, yes. How are you? Chanel, Francis, how are you? Yes. Good to see you all today. And like I said, it's been a busy day. I've been, Portuguese classes every day, with the exception of Wednesday. And that's my day to like really work and catch up on all things Blacks Global. And today was like a mixture of that and interviews, questions. Well, even yesterday it was an interview, but not me being interviewed. This time I recorded another episode for season 7. So we have 2 in the can. And then I'll be taking a little break to record from recording because, dear sweet Bailey has to get her needs met. So I'll be busy with that. So I'll be taking a little pause from recording, but then I'll be right back at it. So really excited to share season 7. If you're a channel member like Patricia, you've gotten some sneak peeks of season 7, but there's still more to come, more to come. I'm proud of myself today. I've been wanting to nickname myself Ticketmaster because Lenny Kravitz is coming to town, right? Lenny. Mm, mm, mm. Lenny. Mm, mm, mm. Lenny, if you're watching this, Lenny and I have had history, right? So I have been a Lenny fan for a long time. He's coming to Portugal, right, in April of 2025. And the tickets are hella reasonable, like Shaka Khan price reasonable, right? Because y'all know how I party front row. Anyway, so Lenny's coming to town. I've seen him in concert 20 plus years ago. I was actually in one of Lenny's videos. Like I said, we have history. That's about as much history as Lenny and I have, just for the record. But I was like, ooh, my baby coming to town, 60 and fine. Yes, I'm buying a ticket. So I've been buying the tickets for like everybody. Oh, yeah, get me ticket. You coming? Yeah, I've been getting the ticket. Everybody been giving me the money. So I mentioned to my brother, who's probably going to watch this later. And I was like, oh, I got my Lenny ticket. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm coming to Portugal. What? So now I had to go buy him a ticket today. I'm like, yeah, just call me Ticketmaster. But I'm proud of myself today because first day I got the ticket, I think it was Tuesday. It was pre-sale. So I get 4 tickets. And I tried to do the transaction in Portuguese, but the lady was throwing way too much at me. And I was just like, oh shit. we ain't got that far, girl. So I was like, So I backed into some English. She didn't speak any English, but we got through it. Then I went back later to get another ticket for our friend Shar, and in Saldana, in a different location. And then that person spoke English that waited on me, which I had some clarity. I had a question I needed some clarity on, which was great that he spoke English because I did the whole transaction in English, asked him what I needed to ask him. So, I got my answers. So today I'm like, okay, I gotta go back. And that's my 3rd time going this week. I'm like, okay, Krishan, you can do this. You can do this, right? I've been taking classes 4 days a week, 10 hours a week. I think I'm ready. So I go in, and your girl got the ticket, did not slip into English. And even when she threw some Portuguese at me that I did not understand, and the amount was different than the amount that I knew it was supposed to be, I was like, And then she was saying something. I was like, now, but it's to be, we backed up. And then I told her the price that it was supposed to be. And so whatever she added on, she took away because I was like, I don't know now, for it to be. I don't understand. And then we got to the amount that we were supposed to get to. So I was like, I felt really good. I felt good today. I like these little wins. I like these little wins. And what I've also been noticing is that now that I'm digesting more Portuguese, that it's sounding less like noise, less like, what's that thing like when you used to watch what was it? Not Scooby Doo. What was it? Snoopy? When the teacher would be like womp 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 womp. Yeah. It's sounding less like that and more like, oh, I know what that is. I know what that means. So I'm like, I'm getting there. But I'm still in the trenches. I still sleep a lot when I'm not in school because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the closest thing to work that I've had to deal with in, some time. So that was one thing. And then next week, next Friday, I know some of you might be thinking, move to Portugal Virtual Summit, but that's not what I'm about to say. Next Friday, we have an off day from class, which is actually good because we have the Move to Portugal Virtual Summit. You know, I was going to slip that in there. So, for those of you who are interested in moving to Portugal, maybe you attended last year, but guess what? There are things that have changed, substantive change, substantive changes that you need to pay attention to. So, if you are interested, even mildly interested in moving to Portugal, you might want to buy a ticket to the Move to Portugal Virtual Summit. We have been on the channels, on various sites, getting all of the information out there. We have sessions on estate planning and wills, divorces, um, what you need to know. I'm going to drop the link. What you need to know about taxation on both sides of the equation. People have moved here with families. We're featuring different areas that we didn't feature before. I'm going to talk about healthcare, different visa options and pathways, all things. So if you are interested, I just dropped you the link. You're welcome. What else? Oh, I have, let's see if I could put it up here. And then I promise I'm going to eventually segue into tonight's topic, but you all indulge me. I don't ever really ramble too much, but check this out. Look, wait. Let's see, how's it going to go? Okay, it's at the bottom. Look, y'all. It's your girl. Yay. 7 mistakes to avoid when moving abroad or traveling long term. So I was a guest on the Zero to Travel podcast. And if you have listened to the podcast, Jason Moore is the host. This was my second time appearing on the Zero to Travel podcast. So do me and Jason a favor. Listen to the episode. I'm dropping the link. It's available on all podcast platforms. But drop a link, leave a review, let him know that you are from the Black Sick Global fam. Give me some love and his awesome podcast too. Jason is an American. He lives in Norway with his family. He has just been a wonderful, wonderful person to collaborate with and bounce ideas off of. And I love talking to other podcasters. And so I appreciate the feature and appreciate your support. So there's that. What else can I tell you about what I've been up to? Planning 2025 vacays, even though I screwed up one, but 2025 vacays. I've been busy. Your girl is going to be in these streets, in these international streets in 2025. Plus, y'all tell me. Actually, this is a good point. And then I promise I'll segue into today's topic. I need a little interaction. Okay. So, some of you, I think, know that Black Sick Global is turning 5 next year, right? The big 5, right? I turned the big 5-0 this year, but Black Sick Global is turning 5. Thank you, Chanel. I love that. Thank you. So I kind of feel like I want to do a party or something. But if I do a party, I mean, I live in Portugal. Most of y'all do not live in Portugal. Would you come if I threw a party? Would you? Okay. Let me know in the chat if you think that that's something, because I don't know. I don't want to put all that effort into it, and then people like, hell no, and then I done did something, because I kind of be going big in some of these things. So let me know. E-Free said yes. Hell yeah. E-Free said hell yeah. Not yes. Hell yeah. Okay. Because if I do, I'm doing an online holiday party actually for Black Sick Global Passport members. I am doing that, but I was thinking about like an in-person thing. Black Sick Global was born in June of 2020, because that's also my birthday month, but it doesn't necessarily have to be in June because Mama's trying to be in Croatia in June. So unless I have the party in Croatia, that's an idea. Oh, that's the other thing. It may not be Portugal. Most likely, it would not. I need to spread these wings in 2025. I need to be winging it all over the place. So, um, but yeah, if I have enough interest, I'll keep asking. But if I have enough interest, I might do a little something, something. If not, I'll just do something for the crew that's here just to memorialize the achievement because it's 5 years. It's a lot, showing up here. Well, not 5 years on YouTube, but showing up here every week, recording the podcast, which I think we're at 100,000 downloads. Well, we're over 100,000 downloads at this point, but it's a lot. It's a lot. Yay. Yes. Awesome. Yeah, I probably will be in Croatia in June. Because I was supposed to be doing that this year, but yeah, no. Okay. All right. So links for the summit, you should be able to sign in by now. You should be able to do that and schedule like the talks that you want reminders for. The platform should be able to do that. Okay. I said on topic. It's been 16 minutes and I have not gotten the topic. Excuse me today. Anyway, so we are going to be talking about the 10. Yes, there are 10. Really, there's probably more, but the ones that come top of mind. So there are hidden costs to moving abroad. Sometimes when people think like, oh, I'm going to move abroad, they're thinking of the physical move, plane tickets, rent or accommodations in their new country, maybe selling a house, disposing of rental property, whatever the case may be, cars, etc., in their home country, not necessarily their country of birth, but home country. But then there are all these other costs that either affect you in that first 6 to 12 months or there are recurring costs. And so when you're thinking of your budget, right? Oh, I want to live abroad on 1,000 a month, 2,000 a month, whatever. And there's no shortage of content on those topics, right? What they oftentimes forget to tell you because you get fixated on, oh, I could live in, Thailand for 1,000 a month. There are all these other hidden costs. So I say, like I said, doing this for now almost 5 years is I want you to put your best foot forward, right? And so for the people that are in Passport, people that are on our channel members, part of our community, right? I want to give you sound counsel, and especially now that I have made the move myself, because when I started this almost 5 years ago, I was where most of you are. I was in the United States, like many years out, right? So let's get to it. Hidden cost number one, which is going to come up all the time, all the time, all the time. Currency exchange rates. Okay. Exchange rates fluctuate on a daily basis. Good, bad, or indifferent, it's something you have to get used to, right? Today's price and yesterday's price, they are not the same. Sometimes they are, sometimes they are not. It is beneficial, right, for some. If you can move to a country where you don't have to deal with currency exchange rates. For example, I believe Panama and I know Costa Rica, you can use USD, right? So you don't really have to fiddle with changing it to colones or anything like that. However, if you're moving to a country that the currency in that country is stronger than the US dollar, meaning most of Europe that's on the euro, including Iceland, which is on the Icelandic krona. Ooh, by far, that is the most expensive country I have ever visited thus far. And why? Because I did not realize that the Icelandic krona was so strong against the US dollar until I tried to order like a $20 hamburger. And I was like, oh, Jesus. right? And so you have to know these things going into it. Interestingly enough, when I was on Zero to Travel, we talked about exchange rates because Jason had shared what the exchange rate was when he first moved to Norway and what his trips to Starbucks were versus like what they are in present day, and how, he hadn't forecasted that. So these are one of those things that just keep coming. So you'll have to figure out timing. When do you move money? When do you move money from your home currency, assuming that you earn money in, let's say, USD, or you have assets that are in USD, but then you have to convert it into euro? How much do you need to keep in your non-home currency account? And then also, because if you're an American, this applies to you, Uncle Sam wants to know what's in the account. Every year, you have to disclose on an FBAR. Conversation for another day, but just file this under one of the things that's going to keep coming all the time. Can't escape it. Hidden fee, but something that is oftentimes overlooked. I'm just peeping over into the comments real quick. Michelle said, "Oh my God, that Icelandic krona." I'm telling you, yes, 378 USD. I don't doubt it. That is why I have not been back to Iceland. Beautiful country. I definitely want to go back. I do, because I do want to experience 23 hours of daylight. Like, that is freaky to me. Like, wait, what? So when I went, it was March of 20, what year was it? 2019, 2018, 2019. I think it was 2019. And, Corona, whew, strong, that's strong. But they hadn't experienced yet like that, you know, time where you have a lot of daylight, because I was just like fascinated by that. So I have to go back just for that reason. The Northern Lights didn't show, but now that I live in this part of Europe, I think it's just going to be like Norway. I think I'm just going to bop over to Norway. I've heard about Switzerland, which is also on my list of places to go next year. I have a whole country list. I'll probably share that like on a video. Maybe I'll do that for a live. We'll do our 2025. Oh, yes. I would love to do an Alaskan cruise. Yes. I would love to do an Alaskan cruise. There and Antarctica. Um, One of our former guests on the podcast is doing that in February for her birthday. All right. So, hidden cost number 2, storage costs for items left behind. This does not apply to me. I did not put anything in storage. Why, might you ask? Because our good friend Rashida Dow, right, of Exodus Summit, Rashida Dow fame, right? Right, from burnout to bliss fame. She had a video on her YouTube channel that scared the bejesus out of me. And I was like, I will never put anything in storage. And so head to her channel, not right now, but after this live, definitely. And I'll link to it in the description of this video after. But anyway, she moved to Mexico City many years ago. I guess now she's been there closing in on like 4 or 5 years at this point. But just got around to clearing out the storage, because when she moved abroad, she didn't think she was going to be gone that long. It was going to be part of her career sabbatical, take a year off, come back, go get her stuff, go back to being a lawyer. And 1 year turned into 2 years, turned into 3 years, right? And so then that's expensive, right? It becomes expensive over time. Not to mention, it's like, okay, it can't go on for perpetuity. So if you watch those videos, it's and Adelia, our friend Adelia is in there as well. It's a cautionary tale. And so if you think that this might apply to you, that, you might be needing, excuse me, to put things in storage, you need to budget for that accordingly. So, one of the things that you can consider is leaving things with a family friend, disposing of things, donating, selling, thinking long and hard about what you need to bring to your new country. Or if you have the opportunity, like I did, one of our Black to Global Passport members had was in the process of buying a home and had a storage unit. So when I came on my second scouting trip, I was able to leave some items that I knew that I wasn't going to need before I moved abroad. And I was able to leave a few items in her storage and then, retrieve them once I had moved. Um, so those are things. And sometimes you can leave things with friends, right? Like if you know you're going to move and you're like, okay, I'm going to move this. I remember with me, I wound up not bringing them, but I had a set of golf clubs that I wanted to bring. And I was like, well, it doesn't make sense for me to try and pay for them later. And then there were people that were gracious enough to say, like, if I was going to bring them, that I could have kept it at their house. But you're going to need to figure out, like, what are the costs that you might be needing to maintain in your home country or costs that you might be incurring in your new country relative to storing your items. I'm super thirsty today. I think it was all that Portuguese I was talking. Okay, number 3, health insurance. Health insurance. One of the beautiful things that I love about living abroad, oh my goodness, is that I have private health insurance. Why is that important? I spent many years, right, working for different companies, private and public sector. And in the US, we all know that your employment is tied to your insurance. And if you lose your job, like I've had numerous layoffs in my career, there goes your health insurance. And Cobra is expensive. And it used to not be as risky to be without insurance. But then COVID-19 came about, right? Like, and I remember there was a period where I did not have health insurance during that time. And it was quite scary, right? Because, you turn on the TV and you're seeing people on ventilators and you're like, oh my gosh, right? This is a catastrophic type of event, medical event, and the expense of those things, not to mention medicine. Or if get cancer or something, right? Something really serious. And I knew of some people at my former employer that weren't even able to really take a step back from their careers to focus on their health because of the fact that their job was linked to their insurance. So, literally, your ability to live is tied to your job. Kind of scary. So, by living abroad, I pay a small premium, and I say small, like an annual fee for a group called AFPOP, AFPOP. And then that allows me to it's kind of like what is AFPOP? I would say it's like a AAA for expats. But because you get group pricing, I get like a little reduction on premium for my health insurance, which goes by my age range. And so since I done crossed over to 50, I'm in a new band last year. I liked last year's band. They played a nice song. The budget was really good. This one is slightly more expensive. I guess I'll enjoy being in this band. But, I think my new premium is maybe 1,300 for the year, baby. And none of that foolishness, balance billing and, all of that nonsensical stuff. Um, But that is something that you want to and need to budget for. Some people move to countries like, I know some people in Mexico, they've been able to navigate life there without getting any insurance. I also have access to public health insurance, the public health system, I should say, here in Portugal, which we will go into, not me specifically, but one of our experts will go to into in depth during the Move to Portugal Virtual Summit. We will have Serenity, which is the health concierge that I also have. So they do all my appointments, they schedule everything, they find the doctors, they follow up, they do all the things. I live a very soft life. But that was not something I had really budgeted for, right? I budgeted for healthcare, but I budgeted for healthcare at my age at which I moved abroad. I did not realize that there were bands and when those threshold breaks were. I didn't know about AFPOP. I didn't know I would want a service like Serenity. So those were hidden costs because I didn't know them. I didn't know about them. I didn't know it was a company exists that like makes it seamless. So nevertheless, those are areas that you'll want to pay attention to. Let me dip over back into the comments and see how y'all hanging. Okay, I see some more questions. I will definitely come back to the questions at the end. Okay. Number four, visa and residency application fees. Woo. So some of y'all might be like, oh, I already know I gotta like pay for a visa. Yes, right. But sometimes people are so focused on the part one, and in most countries, you have to do part one of the process for a long-term residency visa in your home country, and part two happens in your new adopted country. They oftentimes forget that there are fees associated with that. And so it's almost, at least in the instance of Portugal, it was like doing the first part of the process again in country, even though they had the documents from part one. Head scratcher. Nevertheless, right, when you think about, oh, I might have to have duplicates of documents that are apostille, I may need to have duplicates of photographs, right, because they have to have your image and all this stuff, biometrics. Fees that you might have to pay for processing, etc. Killed a lot of trees during the time that I was applying for my residence visa because so many things had to be printed out in its entirety and sometimes in duplicate or triplicate, right? So those are costs. You know, you might think that those are soft costs because they're not directly tied to moving from point A to point B. But again, these are those things that actually end up being hard costs because then when you do your tally, that's going to impact it, right? So, like I said before, if you're thinking you're going to exist somewhere on a certain budget, you also have to not be so fixated on that and make sure you bake in um, room for incidentals, room for currency exchanges and fluctuations, right? So that you could put your best foot forward. Okay. I'm going to breeze through these things and then come back to the questions in case anybody's wondering. Tax obligations. The tax man. So, taxes. Okay. So, Uncle Sam, not a good uncle, not a nice uncle, like kind of an uncle you want to, I don't know, lock up somewhere. He's a bit of a stalker. So if you're a US citizen, you have to file taxes and declare your worldwide income, even if you don't live in the United States anymore. There are only 3 countries in the world. There are 195 countries in the world. Only 3 tax their citizens on their worldwide income, even when they don't live in the country anymore. One of those countries is Eritrea, located on the continent of Africa. Another, I can never remember the second one. But the biggest is the one that I was born in. Yep, America. So you have to declare your worldwide income. And Uncle Sam wants his cut. But if you are a US citizen and you're living abroad, you actually get an extension. That's the one gift they give you on your taxes. Why? Because just like most of the world, like the rest of the world does something one way, and America does something totally different, right? A lot of countries have figured out a way to do socialized medicine, universal health care. The United States does what it does best. It operates as a corporation. Um, a lot of the rest of the world have figured out other things, right? Like, hey, let's have our taxes, let's have our citizens pay taxes around this time to make it easier. US says, nah, April 15th. So, because most of the other countries have like, I think like summertime, I know my taxes were due, I think in July this year in Portugal. So you get an automatic extension to October. And that comes in handy. So, most countries, not all, but have a treaty, a tax treaty with the US. And so you're able to avoid double taxation, not in all instances. So you need to check which country that you're interested in moving to. If you are coming to the Move to Portugal Virtual Summit, we will have two sessions on taxes, one for the US side, one for the Portuguese side, because I am not a tax professional, nor do I pretend to be one. I know a little bit by a little bit, right? Enough to keep me out of jail. But I pay my taxes. I pay my taxes here. I pay my taxes to Portugal. But you will need to know, like, how much is it going to be for you to have a tax professional, right? Usually, the H&R blocks and the Tax Act and stuff, they usually, not all the time, don't have the level of, um, I don't know, I guess, experience with people who live abroad and doing their taxes. They're used to the run of the mill. You live in one state, you're paying taxes in that state. You live in the United States, your money's in the United States. They're not as well versed on expat taxes. And so, usually, in order to find someone who is, it costs a little bit more. And then on your new country side, they'll oftentimes they don't need to know too much about your taxes in your home country, but definitely you need to have some visibility into what it costs to hire a tax professional in your new country. Fortunately, it was a lot less expensive on the Portuguese side than it was on the US side. But whew, again, hitting costs, hitting costs. Okay, banking and international transaction fees. So I am a huge proponent of you not owning credit cards or bank cards that charge you foreign transaction fees. Like, why? Why the banks are getting enough money? Okay, right? They hold your money. They are lately have been paying interest, right? But the feds are already starting to pull back, right? Interest rates. And as soon as they did start signaling that, they were like, oh, right. They said they were like, oh, you know what? We're going to pull back a little bit. Your bank was like, about that 4.75, about that 5.25 we were paying, it's going to go down like a 0.5%, quarter of a percent. Baby, so why pay them, right? When you're moving money, right? You might need to pay for wire fees. You might need to do a whole bunch of other things, right? you'll need to understand the cost. Is it a flat rate? Is it a rate that's tied to how much money you move or moving? And remember what I said earlier about currency exchange rates, right? If you are paying, let's say, based on a dollar amount, or I guess either, right? Whether it's a fixed amount or you're paying the fee based on a dollar amount, and you see the beginning of the month, the currency rate was trending kind of towards your favor, but then 2 weeks later, it's like, oh, wow, singing a good song. And now you're doing it again. Like, can you financially support all of these fees that inevitably mean that that's less spending power that you may have on both sides? Because usually people have some type of obligation into their home country. So these are the things that you really want to pay attention to. I know Adelia, Picky Girl Travels the World, she has some videos on her channel that talk about this, but you definitely want to pay attention because that is something, like I said, it's one of those things, it's not a one and done. These are things that are ongoing. Oh, another thing to add on that banking point, something that is applicable here to my life in Portugal that was not applicable in my life in the United States is I have to pay a fee every month for the honor and the privilege of having a bank account in Portugal, right? So I pay, a fee every month for my bank account, which was one of the reasons why, even though I made the decision in 2022 to move here, I didn't rush to open up a bank account because I was like, well, I don't want to be paying these fees every month when there's no money in it. And I also didn't want to have to deal with the disclosures to the US government on what my account was and all that stuff until it was absolutely necessary. So, again, another hidden cost. All right. Number 7, cost of learning a local language. Woohoo! I am fortunate. I am blessed to be doing this program, which is very intense. It is 2.5 hours, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So 10 hours a week from September all the way till February. And then, should I pass my final, I will have a certificate. It says I have passed A1, A2 Portuguese. And also, that will serve as meeting the requirement when I pursue citizenship in 5 years, right? That's the main reason why I want to do this course. Secondarily, I do want to be conversational and not fluent. And it was important for me to do this early in my journey because I wanted to have more depth of the connections and the interactions that I have beyond what I think I'm straddling now, right, was transactional Portuguese, right? Ordering food, buying things at the grocery store, things like that, transactional, versus being able to hold a conversation. Fortunately, because I have my dog here, and where I live in Portugal, most people speak to me in Portuguese every day. So I was getting better at being able to stay in a conversation maybe 5-ish minutes before it's like, ooh, time to move to those filler words like pois, pois, acho que sim, acho que sim, right? Now I got little more quivers, right, to play with. And that was the goal, right? And so I personally didn't want to wait until it was closer to when the citizenship test or process was starting. I really wanted to do it now. Um, I also do Portuguese with Carla, which I've done since 2022. And I use that to supplement the course that I'm doing now. But that's an expense, right? So fortunately, I don't have to pay anything for this government course. Thank you. But I do continue to pay for Portuguese with Carla. But again, that is if you're moving to a country that your native language isn't spoken, because I don't want to assume everyone speaks English or is watching this that speaks English, and you want to learn the local language, which I think you should. It's important. Now, like I said, to each his own. Some people are like, I got enough to do. I don't want to be bothered. But here's the deal. I am more of a let me have things that help me be successful in my endeavors. Meaning, we live in a world where climate change is real. Now, natural disasters happen. I live in Europe. Strikes happen all the time, right? There are things that might be emergent and they are not going to be translating in all languages. And I need to know what they're saying and what I need to do in response to what is being said, right? And so that is why I'm like, no, I need to have some more words, some more understanding of the language, because if I need help, if I need help as me, or if someone needs help, I need to be able to communicate where I am, all those things. I think some of you might remember my video from a couple months ago when my friends were here for my birthday from the States, and we were stranded on the road like an hour and a half outside of Lisbon where there was no English spoken. And I had to be like, oh my gosh, I'm on the highway. I don't know the word for highway yet, right? Like all of these things. So these are costs that you'll have to think about. Import taxes and duties. This is another one that I would definitely point you to that video from Rashida. But some countries allow you a certain time period to move possessions from your home country to your new country without imposing any fees, import taxes, etc. If you fall outside of that window or you don't declare those things, in some countries like Portugal have forms for that, and they find it, baby. Or well meaning family members or friends say, hey, I want to mail something to you. I tell people, don't mail me a damn thing. If it can't go electronic, I don't want it. I will not. I will not receive it. No, I don't want it. Because it can be expensive, right? It can be expensive to pick up. I know people who live in other countries who it costs more for them to retrieve the item than the value of the item being sent. And so I say save anything you need, like either figure out a way to get it before you move, or when you go on trips to your home country, or if people are coming to see you, maybe they can put things in their luggage. But if you really need to bring something, you need to pay attention to this one. All right. 9, then 10, and then we're going to questions. Okay. Travel costs. Yesterday's price, not today's price. When I came in 2022 to Portugal, I paid about $500 for that ticket. When I came in 2023, not my freedom flight, but my second scouting trip, that ticket was $1,300. Same time period, April. I had only scouted the country in April. Now, my freedom flight was different because I had Bailey. I upgraded my ticket to first class. I did all the extras. But that other one, regular economy, not even economy plus, I don't think. But so when you're looking at these countries, when you're thinking about your scouting trip and you're formulating, oh, what is it going to cost for me to move? You need to think about what are those plane tickets going to cost you once you physically get there. But guess what? You might want to go back to your home country, see relatives, take care of business. You may need to fly back on business. Anything can happen, right? And then you also need to understand, like, are you living somewhere? I'm fortunate. I live very close to the airport. And so it's a hop, skip, and a jump. But if I were in, I don't know, Alentejo, for example, Alentejo region, that's about 2.5 hours either way to an airport. Well, I don't have an Uber, right? So it would be like, how would you get from there? And then you have to think about the cost of the route that you're taking and which airports to avoid, and if going to a different airport is going to greatly affect the cost of your ticket. So these are some of the things. Like, I know I'm starting to avoid Charles de Gaulle Airport and in favor of other airports, right? And so you need to just think about those things in advance so that you don't have to wait until later and then get a unintended surprise. Okay. I hope y'all like, oh, look, you done gave me food for thought. I can't see the comments right now while I'm in the banner mode. Mm. Oh my goodness. Okay, last one. Cost of settling in and setup. I came to Portugal with 3 suitcases and a dog, not including the suitcase that I left here already. And I had some items that were shipped that came maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, which was my podcast equipment, all that stuff. But after that, that was like barely any clothes because I'm a leggings girl. So barely any clothes. Did not have my studio equipment. Like, I didn't have lights and stuff. I didn't have a bed, right? So every item, almost every item in this apartment has been things that I've procured while living here. So when I was on my second scouting trip, I made it a point to go to furniture stores and look at, which I definitely encourage people to do. Go to furniture stores, right, and think about what are the costs of appliances, because not all apartments come with appliances. Especially if you're looking at Europe, it's a different voltage. What are the costs of equipment? Like, my laptop is kind of teetering. So that if it goes out while I'm living here and not on a scheduled trip back to the States, that's going to cost me a lot more because electronics cost more here than they do in the US. So think about those things. What is it going to cost for you to get a bed, to furnish your place? Or are you going to opt for an apartment or something else that's already furnished? What are those other startup costs, like your phone plan, etc.? Those are some of the not often mentioned costs that ultimately, if you haven't factored them in, can literally blow your budget. There are people that have been in abroad, that especially on the telecommunication side, where they're like, oh, I'm on a Verizon plan. That Verizon plan, I did that on my first trip to New Zealand, and I paid $10 a day. I was in New Zealand like 3 weeks, and I came back to a big ass phone bill, even though I wasn't using the data and communicating all the time because of the time zone changes and stuff. But I had the plan, and they were just collecting the money. I got smarter, right? Because I was very green when I did the first one. And then I got a SIM card and, started using WhatsApp and things like that. But telecommunications can literally blow your budget. That alone, right? First, I would say 7 months I was here, I was still paying for my Verizon plan on a line that I wasn't using and paying 100 a month, right? So all those things add up. That's real money, real money. So, okay, I'm going to take this one off and I'm finally going to go over to the comments. Let's see, did it go? Okay. All right. So let me. Yes. Hi, my piece. No, it is not. So thank you. Uh, Fee for new apartment search, fee for movers, and yearly rent increases. Absolutely. Thank you for that. That is a great addition. And my piece is one of our community members. So yes, so the fee for a new apartment search, like a relocation specialist, movers, I haven't yet had to deal with that, right? Because when I moved here, it was just me and my luggage, right, in Bailey. Now, if I leave my apartment, I literally need movers. I have a desk, I have beds, I have sofas, all these other things in the apartment. So, what are those costs going to look like? How do you vet movers when, at least in the case of Portugal, don't speak the language in depth, right? And then rent increases. One of the things that I did that now looking back on it, I was like, whew, I didn't know. I just asked, right? Because I'm definitely a fan of all things are negotiable. I pre negotiated my rent here. So that was one of the things that helped me save money in the long run. So I could avoid rent increases, not thinking that they would happen, but just was like, I had encountered that in the States and it was killing me. And I was like, wait, to the extent that I could put a pin on this for a little bit of time. So I am so glad I did. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, the Howards are in the house. Hey, 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 friends. All right. Okay. So let me go all the way back to the top. And then I'm going to answer these questions and get up out of here. All right. Um, my computer's acting so slow, so apologies. Okay, Anya had her question first. How much funds? So for Nomad Noir, it's 10 days. I would budget give yourself 1,000, like at least, right? That's the bare minimum. I would say 1,000, because most people when they come, they're gonna want to buy souvenirs. There's always going to be something that you're going to want to do that you hadn't thought of, and then meals. Fortunately, living here, food is pretty affordable. I'm a huge fan of cooking at home. I cooked a nice dinner when I got home. But even eating out is very affordable. I've become a little secret fan of Michelin star resident restaurants here. Woo-hoo-hoo. But yes, you can definitely. I would say at the minimum. Anya asked, when planning on moving to Portugal, is it possible for an individual to set up a health savings account? It's possible to have a health savings account with Serenity and deposit funds into that account. I would ask Serenity about the health account if they have them. I have a health savings account from my former employer. I love it. And I'm thankfully able to still contribute to it. So if you have that as an option, yes, I would preserve it and then preserve any of those expenses so that you can draw down at a later date. But that's a great question. I hope you ask Dr. Michael at the summit next week. Doo, doo, doo. Let's see where we be. Hey, hey, hey. Do, do, do. Hmm. I love all the summit questions. So yes, you should be able to sign up, Jametta, on the platform on Hey Summit and do the talks, like schedule the talks that you want notifications for. You should be able to do that. If you cannot, drop me a line, and then we'll troubleshoot that. Halisi and I have our meeting in the morning. I think this was related to the party. Yeah. If I do it somewhere else, probably June, because that would be Black to Global's birthday month. But I don't know. I haven't decided. I know my parties are getting to be a little bit legendary. Oh my goodness. Um, yeah, I actually am leaning towards that, which is why we're doing a fall cohort of Nomad Noir. I actually am a fan of September and October in Portugal. If I do Portugal, one, the weather's still great, less crowds, and usually the ticket prices are much better. Yes, 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 yes. I messed up my planned trip to the continent in March. I cannot believe I did that. Mm, mm, mm. But it's okay. That's not the only country that I plan to visit on the continent next year. So it's okay. But I did mess up one of them. But glad that you're moving to the continent. Let me know where. Do, 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 do. Yay! We're in Asia. I love Southeast Asia. That is one of my favorite spots. La 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 la. I think I'm visiting France in 2025. I have not been there since 2019. Although part of me is not trying to do repeat countries as much this year or 2025. I'm trying to get some new ones under my belt. I have a nice list coming together. Um, nope. Nope. Let's see. Yeah, it's expensive. You have to definitely listen to that episode with Jason. He talks a little bit about Norway, but I haven't been to either country, but I'm definitely looking at doing that. And I looked at a house set in Switzerland, like on Lake Zurich. It was beautiful. Yeah, I think if I did Switzerland, it would be a house set for sure. Mm-mm-mm. Ooh, thank you. Thank you for that radiant renewal. Thank you. Yeah, travel light, travel light. Um, burden them. As long as it's not a lot of stuff, like, you know. I mean, most of my stuff is in Florida, right? In my other house. So, but, it's not stuff I've thought about in almost 15 months. Uh, Not as many as the US. It looked like, especially my old neighborhood, like every corner, it seemed like there was another storage place. It's like, damn. But I mean, you look at the average American, right? They have, maybe two people in the house, but three, four cars and storage in storage in the yard and da 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 da, and then they got, the man cave and the she cave and a lot of stuff. What I like about living in Europe is just more minimalist. More minimalist. So yes, we do have them here. They do have storage facilities, but just not as many as the US. No, that's why, all these wars being up in everybody else's business kind of ran things up. Number one. Oh, great question. Number one was currency exchanges. So you can use a site. I will put that in the comments here. This is the site that I use. And we have a Black's Global chat for the members that live in Portugal. You can use this site XE and set alerts to the currency that you want. I get daily notifications about the euro and the dollar. So who's doing what to whom? When the dollar against the euro slipped into the 80s a few weeks ago, I was crushed because I needed to move money, and I was like, Jesus, why did I move the money when we were still at 93? And I saw it, and it slipped all the way down to 88, and I was like, oh. And let me tell you something. There's a big difference moving money from 93 to 88. That's huge. It's huge, especially when you're moving large sums of money. Huge, right? It adds up. So if you're on xe.com, play around. Just put like moving 500, moving 10,000, right? And you see like the number can blow your mind. Hey, how you doing, Nicole? Hey, friend. Hey, Wesley's in the house. Let's see. Okay. Yes, they are, and they are expected to move up again. Kind of got out of order. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Mm. Under 350, if I remember correctly, per year. Yeah. Great question. Great question. Hey, Steven, another one of our channel members. Yeah, I haven't had to use that, but I have paid an accountant because I have the business. But yay! Look, it will go by faster than you think, right? I started my journey in 2017. I didn't move till 2023. So it will happen. It will happen. I got a B on my first test. I did. And we have another test coming up in like 2 weeks, I think. I've been studying. And then now the Sarah and a star like has clicked. So we did I think we're on unit 10 today. So we were unit 9. We were learning about family. So, family members, their names for mother, father, grandchildren, daughters-in-laws, brothers-in-law. So in the trenches. I learned a few body parts, right? And, well, the bedside, that was kind of easy, but hombro, shoulder. Yeah. Thank you for asking. Pisces prepped. We should be of the minimalist mindset, but I've been wondering about the average amount spent on repurchases of all the necessary items expats already own but left at home. Ooh, that's a great question. Let me ponder that for a second. So, as it relates to my life here, while I did spend a lot of money, in retrospect, I should not have, but I also thought I was moving all of those items to, well, at the time, New Zealand. I had custom furniture in my last place. I did not need to spend that much money. And so replacing those items here, furniture surprisingly is really affordable. Some of I would say like my bed frame is IKEA. That might be the only IKEA item. Yeah, that might be the only big IKEA item. But furnishing my apartment wasn't a terribly big expense. But that is why I recommend on scouting trips, if you think you're leaning towards or just want to know and run like back of the envelope, what the cost would be to replace it, take the guesswork out of it. Like start finding out what are those sites where people are buying furniture or other items from, and then start cataloging. And that's what I did. I was like, oh, I need a TV. Let me go. I went to Vorten and started looking at TVs and the type of TV that I was interested in. At the time, I thought I wanted to replace and bring my sound bar. I wound up never getting a sound bar, and I wound up getting a free TV as part of my phone and internet plan. So I wound up not having to buy a TV after all. So, but I knew what the cost of it would be. So that's what I mean. Like, definitely go and start figuring out what those things are. But there are things that I never replaced. I loved my air fryer. I still haven't bought an air fryer. Still haven't bought an air fryer. The only thing that I bought, oh, and I loved my KitchenAid. Loved my KitchenAid. Still haven't bought a KitchenAid. Nope. I bought a blender. I bought a Ninja blender. That's the only thing. That was 150, I think, euro. But that was the only thing. And I didn't have a Ninja back in the States, but I was like, when I go abroad, I'm going to give me a Ninja. Right? So just think about the things. Sometimes it requires you going somewhere else and then doing without for a period of time. And then you're like, oh, well, if I've gone this long without it, do I really need it? Like, I haven't had a dryer in 14, almost 15 months. Haven't even been to a laundromat. Let's put things on the line. A couple hours, they dry. Right? So hopefully that helps. Thank you. I think that's I mean, depending on how you spend money, I think it's realistic. Hey, girl, we gone, Phyllis. Sign up for the summit. Yes. Thank you. I'm excited. And I'm excited because next Friday I don't have class, so my energy will be up. Let's see. Pinky. There a lot of places to camp? Ooh, okay. I'm not a camper, but okay. I like to bring my camping stuff. Yes, I have. There's some. I am not one of them. I've heard of and seen some YouTubers who are in Portugal who camp. I've heard of camping sites. So I would say yes. Yeah, I would say yes. But definitely think about it. Now, you had mentioned also too about the humidity. Yes, humidity can be quite high here. The other day it was like 88% humidity. Um, if that is something that you're concerned about, and I'm not like I said, I'm not a camper, so I don't know a lot about camping equipment. But you might want to look at also researching what temperature controlled storage, if that's something that you're interested in, might cost. I know storage here does not cost a whole heck of a lot comparatively, I should say. Hmm. Everywhere in Portugal is expensive. Yeah, it done got noticed. Portugal went and got noticed. And so if you are um thinking that the good times are over, they're not over, right? Like the prices that I saw in 2022, they're probably not coming back, but it's okay. Or if you want to go more in the interior part of the country, that is something that I would recommend. Like I said, during the Move to Portugal Virtual Summit, we will talk about other areas that we didn't feature before. We'll have two people talking about real estate, one about the real estate market in Lisbon, and another talking about real estate from a purchase perspective over in the Cascais area, so near Erdesaria. So definitely pop on into that session. You're welcome. Turkey bacon is here. I've had it. Oscar Mayer, turkey bacon. Shh. I have my ways, y'all. I have my ways. Oh, yeah. Well, you're trying to go to the continent. Yeah, that could be pricey. Definitely, I would say reach out to Ashley in Africa. I'm not sure if the country that you're considering is near or one of the ones that she's moved to, but I think that might be a great question for her. Thank you. Thank you. I thought for not studying, I thought that B was good. Imagine if I actually studied. Uh, yeah. Yeah. Mold is an issue. Mold is an issue. It's definitely an issue. Thankfully, I've not had to deal with that, but I'm also in a new build. Um, and that's one of the reasons why, as much as I get tempted to like, oh, maybe I'll buy something, maybe I'll do something, maybe I'll move. I'm like, I like where I live. I like it a lot. I don't know. Yeah, baby. Watch it like a hawk. Set that alert. Set those alerts. No, it is not. Today it was 92.5, I think. 92.5. Yeah, because I think yesterday was 92.9 and then it went to 92.5. Listen to Potluck Publishing. Hit the like button. Okay, I don't see any more questions. So I think we're good. Yeah, I think we got to all the questions. Yeah, okay, y'all. We did it. Woo! So hope I see y'all next Thursday, the day before the Move to Portugal Virtual Summit. I know that's also Halloween, if I'm not mistaken, right? And a couple days before the big election. Like I said before, if you are in a position to take advantage of early voting or vote by mail, please do that. If you are an overseas voter like myself, make sure you exercise your right to vote. It is very important. So, mail your ballot, or if you are fortunate like I was able to email my ballot. And I got confirmation from the Board of Elections in Florida. Yes, Florida's like a curse word now, that it was received. But yes, I have voted already several weeks ago. And one of the things that I really appreciated about being able to do my ballot that way was that I was able to be thoughtful. Like I carved out time and looked at all of the propositions, all of the candidates, because they had a couple judges and just things that I need to familiarize myself with. That if I was casting my ballot in a booth, I wouldn't have that freedom of time, right, to research. It took me an hour because I was going, like, what does this one do? What's the position of this if I vote yes on this, right? Because sometimes they word these things, and I used to be in politics, but sometimes they word these things to be intentionally confusing. But do your best, know your candidates, um, fight the good fight, and I will see you next week. And then hopefully I will see some of you next weekend for 3 days at the Move to Portugal Virtual Summit. Okay? All right, y'all. Ciao, ciao. Bye bye. I'll see y'all next time.